So today is the day we leave the EU. We're fucked. Up the arse. Cheers! This is my favourite mug because it describes me perfectly. So what is the date today? Oh my gosh, January is almost over. Hello everyone, today is the 31st of January 2020. Doesn't January feel like the longest fucking month? It's like, how many days are in January? I don't know, 100? Should bring back the Sarah XX loose side fringe. There we go. Get a little clip. Done. Okay, I drank all my coffee. Although, I do feel awake now, so hello. It's not even 10 o'clock and I'm filming a video. This was a requested video about customer service horror stories. Now, in the 14 years I've worked in customer service, a lot of shit has probably happened. Much of which I don't remember. You just take it on the chin, you smile, and you carry on earning your minimum wage. But there are a few that I do remember. So I've worked in customer service since I was 15, so I'm 29, so that's about, what, 14 years? A lot of people seem to think that because you don't necessarily need any qualifications to work in customer service, that you don't work hard and that it's not a hard job and that you don't necessarily work for your money. But I actually think customer service is one of the hardest types of jobs to be in. People treat you like shit because their mindset is anyone can do your job. Anyone can be a waitress and bring me my food. That's what you're paid to do. And because their mindset is you're basically, or essentially, shit on the bottom of their shoe because anyone without any qualifications could do what I'm doing, you get treated like absolute rubbish. Not by everyone, but by a lot of people, and you just have to take it on the chin, smile and carry on. And here lies the problem. There should be one day a year when we, as retail and customer service workers, should be allowed to say what we're really thinking back to customers. Do what they do to us. Just one day. Just one day. I personally think it is absolutely disgusting. Customer is always fucking right. I hate that saying because they're not. Most of the time the customer is a fucking dick, but we can't say that. Not me, the little menial worker on my £8.21 an hour. Fuck. It just makes me so angry that because it's not considered a career, and don't get me wrong, it isn't a career, is what makes so many people look down on people that work in the customer service and retail industry. But it is fucking hard. Don't ever tell someone that works in this industry that it isn't hard and that they don't work. It can be so draining. And you can come home at the end of the day and feel absolutely shit about yourself. Most of the time we're like, you gotta keep smiling for my 8-hour shift because I'm working in customer service. God forbid my face drops and show my actual emotion. God fucking forbid. In all honesty, there is probably a lot of things that have happened over the years that you would class as a horror story, but I think the old noggin has decided it's too traumatic to remember all of them. This is just a few. This is a great one. This was about maybe September, October time, and I got called horseface by a lovely, lovely couple who were just out to get free food, in all honesty. They had come in, this is a story. Oh shit, am I allowed to say where I work? So they came into and they had these vouchers to use, and these vouchers are only given to people who have previously complained. So we knew that they had previously complained about something and they had come back to use these vouchers. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I don't know if I could get in trouble for doing so. So long story short, I had just taken over from a previous waitress who had taken their order. The order was in the system, it was just being cooked, so I didn't actually know what their order was. And when I took their food over to them, they said that their order was wrong. Then they had ordered fries. Now fries are a side, they come out with the main meal. You don't have fries as a starter, you just don't. It's not even a starter on the menu, it is a side. They had wanted the fries as a starter and I said to them, you can't have it as a starter because it's a side. They didn't really understand what I was saying, and the previous waitress who had taken their order suddenly panicked and thought that she'd put their order in wrong, and I explained, you haven't put their order in wrong because fries are a side, not a starter. This lady, this lovely, lovely lady, was overhearing this conversation as it was happening. She then said that me and my colleague were bitching about her. Definitely going to waste my time bitching about you in front of you whilst you're at the salad bar. Good one. I don't really remember what actually happened. I just remember they came over to pay and it started getting heated really, really quickly. They just kept finding all these things wrong. You could just tell it was blatantly obvious they weren't going to pay. They were just finding one thing after another. So if I gave them an answer for one thing, they'd find something else. So I was like, you know what? You're not going to pay. Please vacate the premises. Actually, I said, okay, you're clearly not going to pay your bill, so please, if I can ask you to leave. Now this woman looked shocked because she didn't want to leave. She wanted to get more vouchers. So that's clearly what she had done before. She complained she'd got vouchers. So she wasn't going to be happy until she complained again and got more free vouchers. She didn't want to just leave. Not paying for her meal wasn't good enough. She looked shocked that I suggested that they leave without paying their bill. I can't really remember specifically what happened because I was like so trying to stay calm, but inside I was like, you can't really remember how it got to this point, but I use my hands a lot when I talk, as you notice in videos. I don't mean anything by it, I'm just a very hand gestury person. She told me, she was like, put your hand down, put your hand down, don't you wave your fucking hand at me, put your hand down, all whilst she was, you know, doing this in my face. I was like, please don't raise your voice at me, blah blah blah, please leave. And then somehow it got to the point where she called me horseface and she went, don't talk to me like that, horseface. Kept trying to get a rise out of me and I was trying to stay really calm because I had a full front section. Oh, she was swearing at me. She was like effing and blinding all over the place. And there were children there. I said, please do not swear at me. This is a family restaurant. And then the guy who'd been pretty quiet throughout this was like, my daughter is a cage fighter, she'll come down here and pull you out on the street. She just didn't like the fact that I wasn't rising enough to what they were saying. I was getting angry and I had like tears in my eyes where I was that angry because I wanted to scream. But again, I had a restaurant full of guests who all backed me up and said that if this went to head office they would make statements to say how well I handled the situation. And I just remember getting really argumentative with her but still trying to be professional when I just wanted to call her a heffalump. If I had said anything I would have been sacked. I had to stand there and take the abuse, wait for my manager to come down, and then she started screaming that she wanted my name, that she was going to go to head office and do everything in her power to get me sacked, all because she wanted free fucking pizza. She was too cheap to buy a £7 pizza. Stupid doll dotting twat. I genuinely loathe where I live because it is full of people like that, out to just get something for free and they don't care about anyone else but themselves. I seem to be good at knowing the tables that are going to try and make a run for it, or say they found a hair in their food, or just, you know, not pay. About 98% of the time I'm right. My instinct about tables is right. Okay, so this, I don't want anyone to get offended by this. So in England, or at least again where I'm from, there is a distinction between real travellers and what we call pikeys. Real travellers have their own land. They're hardworking, they have horses, they are a tight-knit community. They will do anything for one of their own. They are hardworking and most of the time they're not out to cause trouble. Now pikeys is, again, they are still travellers or they're of traveller descent, but they are not hardworking. They are out to get everything for nothing. They, most of the time, the ones in our area have a distinct Irish accent that is like such a mumbly Irish accent you can barely understand them, like all the words come together in one. I'm sorry love, but I am going to pay for my pizza because I found a fucking hair in it. They're like, I'm sorry, what? So like I said, there is a distinction between travellers and pikeys. Now again, pikeys are, they say that they're travellers and maybe they do live on a site, they do have caravans or chalets and they may own horses, but they're out to cause trouble. They're not necessarily hardworking, they're thieving, they're rude. They try and play the discrimination card and that's how they get away with a lot of the shit they do. So we can't say anything back to them. Say that there is a table of pikeys waiting at the door to be sat, a table of 10, because they normally come in a massive group. I can't ask them to pay up front because they'll play the discrimination card and tell me that I'm discriminating against them. You're a fucking racist, and they'll call it racist even though it's not being racist, it's being discriminative. They will call you racist and they will say that they go into the papers and you won't be able to get them to pay up front. And then this is where my story starts. I have countless stories, not just at the place that I am now, so not just but even at the ice rink, Diggerland. I've lost my train of thought. Yeah, this is where my story starts. I've lost count even just at how many times this has happened. They will find they'll over order first of all. So they'll get a sharing pizza per person, like 3 portions, like 3 racks of ribs, fries, onion rings. They'll do a massive order, like £100 worth of food. So you know that they're not going to pay from the get-go. And then you go and do a check back and you ask if everything's okay, everything's fine. Then 5-10 minutes later they'll call you over and they'll find a piece of plastic in the food. Plastic which isn't in the kitchen at all, it's nothing to do with us. They've placed it in their food, but they found a piece of plastic in their food. We can't dispute that. They will find hair in their food. It won't match my colour, it won't match the people in the kitchen who are wearing a hairnet colour or length of hair, but still, they found a hair in their food. They will say the pizza's too greasy, even though they ordered a stuffed crust and the garlic butter leaves a ring of grease because it is melted butter. They will try everything under the sun, or The really brave ones won't even give a shit. They'll just get up and walk out, and they know that you won't say anything to them because they'll get you done for discrimination. One that they do quite often is, again, if it's a big table, they'll try and confuse you. So they'll all order, they'll all shout over each other, and then they'll all order, and then you read it back to them, and then they'll start saying, no, I didn't order that, I want this instead. No, I don't want that, I want that, I want that, I want that. And they'll try and confuse you. And then you just have to keep reading the order back and back, and they'll keep trying to change it and confuse you. And then when the order comes out, they'll say, I didn't order that. Well, you did, but alright, I'll take it off the bill for you. Yeah, but I still want to eat it. It makes me so angry. They can just get away with it. At the ice rink, I've had them jump over the desk to get their ice skates for free. I've had, at the trampoline park actually, they're meant to sign a waiver. I've had them say that they can't read and that they refuse to sign a waiver, and then run upstairs and leg it on the trampolines without paying or signing a waiver, just because they can and they know that no one will say anything to them. This one is called The Woman Who Waited for a Penny. Now this isn't a horror story, this is literally just funny. So as a server / waitress, you have your own like float, so your own pocket of change on you. Once it runs out, you have to obviously give a note to a manager to get you some more change. The amount of times that I have run out of coppers, so I've run out of pennies, and people are like, it's fine, don't worry, it's just a penny. Because it is that, it is just a fucking penny. This one woman, I had a full restaurant on my own. Her change was literally just a penny. I said, oh, unfortunately I haven't got the penny to give you. Is that okay? And normally they go, yeah, no, that's fine. Like, don't be silly, it's just a penny, have a good day. She stood there and just started fucking shouting at me.
It's a fucking conspiracy. If all the companies kept my penny, I'd be out of pocket thousands. If you did this, every customer that came through the door, you'd have like £100.
It's a conspiracy.
She just kept shouting, it's a conspiracy, I want my penny. I was like, that's fine. I can call upstairs, get my manager to get you some more change. She waited for what I think must have been about 10 minutes to get her penny back. To get her penny back. Like, I'm sorry, but it's a penny. But it was just funny because I had 100 other things to do, and she cared about this penny. I love people, I really do. Or the people that make me laugh are when they give you the money, and like we give them a little pot to put their money in if they're paying by cash, and they give you the pot and they're like, keep the change, you worked really hard for it, like thank you so much. And obviously you haven't counted the money yet, so you're like, oh thank you so much, like that's really kind of you, thank you. So you make a big deal out of saying thank you. You don't know how much is in the pot, you count all the change up, do the till, and you realise they've left you a penny. They've made you grovel and say thank you for a penny, and they've made a point out of doing that. It's like, yeah, thank you so much for your help, keep the change, knowing that it's a penny. The people that let their kids chuck pizza crust and sweet corn and shit all over the floor, something that they wouldn't do at home, and then go, oh, sorry about the mess. They're not sorry that they've left the mess. They think that's your job and your duty to clean up after them. People that leave wet wipes and nappies and things smushed all over the table. Oh, it's their job to do it. It's just this sense of entitlement. Well, you're the waitress, you clean it. This is when I worked at the ice rink. So this was a long time ago. I don't remember much about it at all. I just remember that the session had just finished, so everyone was bringing their skates back, and this was at a pop-up ice rink at Christmas. It was really, really busy. And there was a really tall guy who was sort of at the back. There was like 3 rows of people waiting to get their shoes back for their skates. And this one guy kept shouting abuse at me. But he was, like I said, he was like 3 rows back, and he leaned over the person in front, and where I had leant forward to get someone else's skates, he dropped the skate. It somehow dropped like on this part of my face, and it cut my lip and cut here. Not badly, luckily the skates are blunt as fuck when you go to a Christmas ice rink. I just remember I had blood dripping and people were still screaming at me to get their skates, and I just had to go to the first aid room. Like, you're all gonna get your shoes eventually. Just fucking wait. This one is customers pushing me out the way to get into skate hire as we were taking too long. So I remember I worked for free. No, I didn't work for free. That is a lie. I worked on Christmas Day because we were doing free ice skating. Now this was at my local ice rink that I worked at for 4 years. We offer free skating on Christmas Day, and in exchange, any money raised for the skating aid, so the penguins and the walruses, the money goes to charity. I got paid £75 for 4 hours work, which was really good, but it was Christmas Day. But it was fucking rammed. It ruined my Christmas, working on Christmas Day. People are heathens and they are just awful. Even more so around the holidays. And I just remember it was actually absolute carnage. I was on my own. It was just me working Christmas Day, I think. 1 person in the cafe, 1 person in skate hire. And I just had people literally jumping over the counter to get these skating aids for free. but they'd already got free ice skating, just taking them, shouting abuse at me, like pushing me out the way to get into Skate High to get their own skates. So I was on my own, and again, they couldn't wait. So it's not really a horror story, but it goes to show that people want everything for nothing, and they're awful. You would think on Christmas Day people would be like merry and bright. Not a fucking chance. Working in customer service in the holidays, if I haven't said so already, is a fucking nightmare. You would think Disneyland is the happiest place on earth, right? I get the sense that it is one of the worst places to work in a lot of ways. Like people, customers, guests are absolutely vile. I actually worked at the Disney store in a big shopping centre, and that was probably one of the worst places I've ever worked. The staff were bitchy, the customers were, again, fucking rude, and it was just not a happy experience. The places that you think are going to be the happiest places to work are actually the worst. But people that tell you to smile, maybe I don't want to fucking smile all the time. Okay. So, going back to the ice rink. As a skate hire assistant, you had to clean the toilets and clean the ice rink in general. Once in the ladies' toilets, and people think that the men's toilets are actually the worst, but women are disgusting. I have had used sanitary towels like stuck to the front of the cubicle before. Someone decided to take a big shit next to the toilet. They had purposely shat on the floor. It wasn't a child, it was a fully grown adult human shit. So someone had decided, you know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to shit next to the toilet so someone can clean it up. I had to get my hand inside a black sack, scoop up the shit, then pull the bag back on itself and try not to throw up. Why are people so disgusting? Okay, so this one was recent-ish. A little boy who was probably too old for a nappy just decided that while sitting on his chair to eat his food, he would pee. Not even say that he wanted to go for a wee, just pee. But I'm not blaming the little boy because he's a little boy. So he decided just to pee all over the chair and threw himself. My camera is dying, one sec. Yeah, so this little boy peed on himself all over the chair, and it was a massive puddle. It ended up all over the floor. There were guests sat next to them, so it was just sort of a big puddle like spilling out underneath the table. Me personally, if this was my child, I would let someone know, I would let a member of staff know, but I wouldn't just let them clean it up and then just sit there, which is exactly what they did. They watched me get Blue Roll, put some gloves on, get a mop, and just wipe his chair, and all they did was just put him on their lap and just sat there and watched me whilst I cleaned up his pee. And they didn't even say sorry. Like I said, it's not the little boy's fault, but how the parents handled it. One, say sorry. One, give me a hand, because it's not my job to clean up your child's urine. It's just not. Then when I had cleaned up the majority of it, I said, oh, is that okay? Is that dry enough? They just went, yep. I didn't even clean up the little boy and then just went back to eating their food. Ugh. Yeah. There is a gentleman that is kind of irregular. I know what his order is. He comes in all the time and he gets, an individual pan meat feast and a bowl of cider. And he started getting more and more creepy every time he came in. He'd ask for a hug, or he'd try and kiss my hand. You have to sort of go along with it because you don't want to seem rude. So I let him kiss my hand. I let him, give me a hug because he was an old man. I felt a bit sorry for him. He took it a little bit far. He kept saying that I was a very nice looking girl and just making really creepy comments. But again, you have to laugh and smile and be like, oh, thank you, because God forbid I can't say what I'm actually thinking. This was around Christmas time. He decided to buy myself, my manager, and the other girl on shift a drink. So thoughtful of you, thank you so much. I hope you have a really nice Christmas. And then he kissed my cheek before, so he wanted to kiss my cheek again, but this was in the same day. This was about the fourth time he tried to kiss my cheek. So again, sort of as I gave him a hug, he went to kiss my cheek because I was saying thank you for the drink, and he literally grabbed my face, pulled it, and kissed me on the lips. You just have to laugh it off and be like, oh, thank you so much for this drink that I didn't want. It's not really a horror story, but it's just the fact that this one happened, this was quite a while ago, but isn't it, again, it's not really a horror story. These are just a couple of things that I remember. There was a lady and her friend. Lady had gone, let me start again. Okay, there was two ladies. One had gone to the toilet, and I'd asked the other lady if they were ready to order, and she said yes, so she ordered for her friend. Now I'm adamant that I took their order down right. It was a very simple order. And then when I took their food over, her friend was like, this isn't what I wanted. I wanted it with no mushrooms and it's got mushrooms on it. Now this lady, her friend, hadn't told me that she didn't want mushrooms. She definitely hadn't. The friend decided to blame the server because why look stupid in front of your friend and admit that you didn't remember that she didn't want mushrooms? Just blame the waitress. Yeah, the waitress got it wrong. She can't even take a simple food order. But I was adamant and I knew I was right, so I argued with this lady because the customer isn't always fucking right, despite what they believe. She said, are you actually going to stand here and argue with me? And I said, yes I am, because you didn't ask for it without mushrooms, but I can definitely get a remake for you, that's no problem. So I was very polite. This woman was so taken back that someone was actually arguing with her because clearly she didn't think that we're allowed to have a backbone and argue a little bit. But it's just funny that people will argue until they're blue in the face. So will I. And that is all I have. If you have any horror stories from working in customer service or retail or even just whatever job you're doing, leave them in the description. No, leave them in the comments because I would love to hear them. So until next time, see you later. Bye.